It's perhaps the most notorious prison break in South Dakota's history.
100 years ago tomorrow, 4 men escaped from the state penitentiary after kidnapping the warden and stabbing the deputy warden on August 17th of 1922.
And as you're about to see in tonight's Eye on Kettleland, their bold escape led to a massive manhunt that lasted for days and put the entire state on edge.
August 17th marks the 100-year anniversary of the most infamous and wild prison break and manhunt in South Dakota history.
In 1922, these 4 men made headlines everywhere across the upper Midwest when they escaped from the South Dakota State Penitentiary after kidnapping the warden and stabbing the deputy warden.
That began an 8-day manhunt through country, talking about machine gun battles, we're talking about airplanes. Everybody in the state, it seemed, was searching for these guys.
Now, 100 years later, filmmaker Doug Lee is doing some searching of his own, searching for the truth about one of the escapees.
The more we dug into this, we realized that one of the individuals in particular, Joe Foreman, who was the supposed ringleader of the prison break.
Joe Foreman was sent to the penitentiary in 1920 for larceny, but always felt he was wrongfully convicted. Lee believes that too, all because of this.
We found Joe's personal writings, his journal, which he documented in great detail and in amazingly engaging writing. Every detail of the manhunt, every detail of the prison break, what was happening. It reads like a movie script.
It's an incredible find, a 400-page journal written in pencil that Foreman kept detailing everything that had happened to him and the other 3 escapees. According to his journal, after their prison break, the 4 went south into Nebraska and were spotted near Niobrara. Stealing cars along the way, they made their way back into South Dakota and stopped near Murdo, where a horrific scene unfolded. According to his journal, when they were spotted by law enforcement, they shot the sheriff, state's attorney, and another man in what's become known as the Murdo Massacre.
Joe always said he was innocent of the Murdo Massacre. He wasn't even actually there at the time. The other 3 had walked the guys down into the draw and shot them.
Miraculously, all 3 of the shooting victims survived. It wasn't until days later the 4 escapees were confronted by the posse north of Wall. They shot up their stolen car and killed one of the escapees in the process, Henry Coffey. According to his journal, the 3 surviving escapees, including Foreman, were brought back to the penitentiary and tried on several charges, including attempted murder. A photography company from Sioux Falls captured it all.
They headed out and met up with the posses and stuff that had captured them, and they actually took film of that, of them being brought back and going through the towns. And they went through the towns, and there would be people lining the streets and all of these different things. And if we could find that piece of video, that piece of film, that would be truly fascinating.
Rancher Scott Bartlett of Burke knew Joe Foreman personally.
Spent some time with Joe Foreman when he worked on my grandfather's ranch. When
Foreman got out of prison in 1944, he went to work for Bartlett's grandpa. He says he was only 8 or 9 at the time. Foreman was already an old man. But he says no one in the family knew of Foreman's criminal past.
There's a lot of people around the area that knew that Grandpa would hire about anybody that was willing to work.
Despite their age difference, Bartlett says he became friends with Foreman.
He would always take the time to teach us, different things, different skills that he knew. He knew the constellations, and we'd go out at night and he would show us the stars and different constellations and point them out.
But Foreman never opened up to Bartlett about what he had done or was involved in until one day Bartlett was reading the True West Frontier Times. In it was a detailed article about Foreman and the infamous prison break of 1922.
And I thought, that can't be the same guy. Some of the things that were said about him, he talked like this vicious killer. And I thought, there's no way.
He says Foreman was always nice and respectful to others. He, too, believes Foreman couldn't have done all the things that he was accused of committing.
This has nagged me my whole life.
So now he, along with Lee and his film crew, are on a quest to find the truth out about Joe Foreman, a man they believe was wrongfully imprisoned in the first place. They all admit that Foreman wasn't an angel by any means.
He was definitely not the monster that he's portrayed to be. I don't see any of that in his writings.
I think that Joe was portrayed by the media is somebody that was totally different than the man that I knew.
Joe wasn't a perfect man, but he certainly wasn't the bloodthirsty killer the press made him out to be.
Foreman died in 1971, but his story that is well documented will live on forever. And that's why they're doing the documentary, to try and set the record straight.
Now, in his journal, Foreman wrote about receiving a letter from the judge years later notifying him that he wrongfully sentenced him to 7 years in prison, and Lee and his film crew are continuing to do more research on this project, so there is no timeline on when it'll be finished.
That journal, that is all intact, it's incredible.
It is incredible, just that it was so well preserved for 100 years.
Yeah, amazing. Well, coming up next in sports, we check in with the